Well, hello and welcome to One Simple Recipe, where we're hoping to get you one step closer to better health. Today, it's about a 5-ingredient recipe, give or take. It is lemon harissa shrimp, and it's one of my favorites. I love it. We'll talk about it. I'm Judy Matesky. I'm a registered dietitian and a culinary nutritionist with Athens Nutrition. So we're back again with our simple recipe. I have a bunch of things, mise en place, everything in its place to get started. And we'll talk about what's on my cutting board right now. So this is a lemon harissa shrimp, and I'm going to talk about the harissa because I got many questions about that. So we will go over that, but I want to get started because I want to get some things in the skillet so we can get going. This comes together pretty quickly. I have my skillet right now. I have about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here, and I wanted to get it heated up a little bit so we can get moving with the shallots and the lemon. All right, so you can use garlic, couple of garlic cloves for this, just slice them thin. Because I bought this big bag of shallots, I'm gonna use a shallot instead, and it's a pretty good sized shallot. I went ahead and I just took the skin off the shallot, I cut it in half, and I have, see if I can use this bench scraper, and I have the shallot already. I just cut the shallot in half lengthwise and then cut it in thin strips. So I already have that ready to go, and it's a decent, one large shallot, you get a fair amount of shallots once they're thinly sliced. And I love shallots. Whenever I see them in the market, I always grab them because they're a little more mild than garlic, but a little stronger than onion. So it's a little bit a cross between, I think, between the onion and the garlic flavor. And I just think they taste great. So I like to use them sometimes as a substitute for garlic or onion in recipes. So they're going in with this olive oil, and then I want to show you the lemon. I'm going to let these just saute a little bit here. But the lemons, so this is a lemon harissa shrimp. And the lemons that we're going to throw in, this is a little bit different. This is a recipe from Allison Roman that she tends to lean a little, sometimes she sort of likes to pull sometimes a little bit of the bitterness out of food. And I have to agree, I really like that too. So I took the lemons, and depending on the size of your lemon, I had 2 smaller lemons that were actually from our lemon tree, believe it or not, from the summer. They came off a little later. So I sliced up half of one of these small lemons already and just into really thin slices. So the idea of this recipe is we are sauteing the whole lemon slice. We're not taking the peel off, we're not peeling it, any of that. It's sliced thinly, and they're going to go in with, you kind of brown up the shallots a little bit, couple of minutes, and then we're going to throw these sliced lemon pieces right in. Now, this is something you might not think to do, to actually cook with the whole lemon, because I tend to think most of us go, it's going to be a little bit bitter. Now, it does bring out a little bit of bitterness from the lemon, because there is some bitterness in the pith. Most of the bitterness is really in the seed of the lemon, and when you slice a lemon and you slice through the seed, you're going to pick up some of that bitterness. There certainly is some bitterness in the pith. Now, these lemons that came off our lemon tree have the pith, the white part of the lemon is very thin. So as you can see, I do have there are a couple of seeds in there. I thought I got them all out. A couple little ones hiding, but let me pull those out. But you can see where this lemon, the pith, is pretty thin, the white part. So there shouldn't be as much bitterness with this lemon. If you get a lemon that really has a pretty thick white pith, just slice it really, really thin and see how that works. Now, there is an alternative to this. I think that's pretty good for now. There's an alternative. If you're not sure about using the whole sliced lemon because maybe you're very sensitive to more bitter flavors, then hold off on that. Just saute up your garlic or your shallots, and then at the end you can add like the zest off heat. Add the zest of 1 lemon and then the juice of maybe half that lemon, and there you'll pick up that lemon flavor. If you really kind of want to shy away from, if you're concerned or you're not sure you like the little bit of the bitterness that might come off the lemon itself. But I don't think it gets too bitter, not for me. And so I like it, and I just think it's a different way to use a whole lemon when you're cooking. So we're sort of like frizzling this up a little bit. You do want it to get a little browned a little, and the lemon itself should kind of sizzle a little here. So that was the equivalent about, because my lemons were small, it's really about half of a lemon that you're slicing thin, and then the other half we're going to use the juice at the end. But I used like a whole lemon, the equivalent of a whole lemon, because my lemons were so small. All right, so I do have some of the bigger lemons. These are from the supermarket. And you need, obviously, room temperature lemons. Roll them, slice them, then you get more juice out of them if they're not cold and you kind of roll them up. All right, so that's going. And while this is, let me just stir this around a little bit. Like, you don't want to burn it, but we do. I'll show it to you. You do want things to get a little bit brown. All right. I'll just turn it down just a tiny bit right now. All right, let's talk a little bit about the harissa. This has been a big discussion on the blog and on the website. So the harissa is like a red pepper paste. Typically, it's originated from North Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, that region. This is a Tunisian harissa that I picked up, and it's more of a paste. So let me see if I can show that to you. It's pretty thick. And it's pretty spicy. So harissa can be pretty mild, or it can be very spicy. It depends on what peppers they're using. Tunisian ones are usually pretty spicy. So this is a little spicy for me, so I don't usually use just this when I'm making this particular dish. I kind of like to have both. Oh, here's my Tunisian, and then this is a Moroccan one, that the Mina brand that I find at Whole Foods, but I think supermarkets carry it as well. You can see with this one, it's much thinner. It's more like a sauce than it is a paste. It's almost like a thick tomato sauce. This one, the first ingredient is red bell peppers. So this is a much more mild harissa. I use this one the most because I think it's very flavorful. It still has a little bit of spice, but it's not too spicy. So I'm going to go ahead and add now that these are browning up, I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of this particular harissa, and then maybe about a tablespoon of the paste. So if you are using a couple of things here, so all in all, I like about 4 tablespoons of the harissa in here. Depends on, that's up to you. So we're adding it in here because I do want to just, not brown this, but I do want to heat the harissa a little bit and bring out some of its flavors in the heat of the skillet before I add the shrimp. All right, and it just really smells so good. It has such a great aroma. And harissa you can use it. I love it. I buy it. I have it in my refrigerator all the time. If I'm not using it fast enough, I will put it in my freezer once it's open, because it doesn't last forever in the refrigerator. The paste does. But this one does not. This one will last a little longer in your refrigerator. But I'll put it in my freezer and then pull it out as I need it. But you can use it on eggs. I use it on eggs. You can use it just, if you make a soup or a stew and it needs a little more flavor, just add some of that. Even at the table, you can use it. I use it sometimes just as a spread, kind of on bread. You can use it with pastas. You can add it to sauces. It's really, I love it. I tend to use it on a lot of things. It has such a great flavor. Here's the brown shallot and the lemon slices and the harissa. Now I'm going to go ahead. I have 2 pounds of shrimp right here, and the shell is on. Now these were deveined, but the shell's on. These are going in. I'm going to turn the heat up now. And what I love, let me just wash my hands real quick. What I really love about this recipe is that you don't have to peel the shrimp. I don't know about you, but I love shrimp, but I don't like peeling it. I just don't, and none of us probably do. So the fact that this recipe you can do without peeling the shrimp, I'm all in, all in. Now, you can peel the shrimp if you want to. By all means, go ahead. It is, if I can get away from doing that, I'm there. So it all goes in, and what I love about this particular dish is it's a very casual, it's a really great casual dinner. So whether it's with family, you have friends over or whatever, you just keep it in the skillet, put it on the center of the table, you get some great like whole grain crusty bread or sourdough bread. And I love it with a big green salad, so maybe like some arugula with just a little bit of lemon juice to bring the lemon flavor through, and some olive oil and salt and pepper. The one thing we didn't do is salt and pepper, so I'm going to do that. And it's just this great casual meal. It comes together so quickly. All right, so salt and pepper. So you kind of wanted a salt and pepper along the way. I did not, so, you know, again, salt and pepper is your taste. So if you want, you know, one thing's a little bit saltier, go ahead. If you're more salt sensitive, as we talk about, then a little less. So I have some nice, good crunch, really great cracked pepper that I did in mortar and pestle. I keep it with my salt. This is such a cool little thing. The salt sits on top of it, so I keep my ground pepper at the bottom. I mean, I use my pepper grinder, but sometimes I really want my pepper to be just cracked pepper, and I want some of the chunks from the pepper. All right, so keep stirring this around. Now, and I don't have a, if it gets a little bit drier and you feel like it needs a little bit of moisture, when I use just all of this particular Mina brand, because it's a little bit looser, it's not as thick as a paste, I don't usually need to add any liquid to this at all. But if you need to, what I'll do is often I'll just splash it with a little bit of white wine if I have a bottle open. If not, you could splash it just with a little bit of water. If you find that if you're concerned about anything burning, there's enough. It's certainly not going to burn, I don't think. So now I'm just stirring this shrimp around, because all we're doing is just cooking the shrimp, and this is going to take just a few minutes. It depends on the size of your shrimp, obviously. I'm using a decent size. These are pretty good sized shrimp, so these just might take a little while. So you just want to make sure that all your shrimp are pink, and that they seem like they've cooked through. So I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and because these are, I'm going to put the lid on just to kind of collect a little bit of some of this moisture in here, so that it'll steam just a little bit. But this is meant to be, it doesn't really have much of a sauce to it, but there will be some of this lemon and the harissa at the bottom of the skillet. So when you're serving it, and you're serving it with some crusty bread, you can kind of get in there and just, soak up some of the little bit of the sauce that's on the bottom. So again, you're just gonna finish. You would just finish these off, and I'll pull them over to show you. These aren't going to cook all the way through. These are going to need a few more minutes, because you can still see some of these are gray. Still gray. They haven't all turned pink. But let me just pull it over, because we're doing it here. And then we're just going to finish this with a splash of. We're going to finish it with a splash of. Doesn't that look great? It's really coming together really well. I'm just going to finish it with a splash of lemon, and once this is cooked, then that other half of the lemon that you're going to have after you slice the other half that went in there, we're just going to off heat. I'm going to squeeze the other half of the lemon juice on there, and you can use a little bit more. I would serve it with some wedged lemon as well, so you can cut some of these lemons, take the seeds out, wedge them up, and then kind of just put around the outside of the skillet right on the shrimp when you go to serve it. And then if anybody wants to add a little bit more lemon, and salt and pepper out in case anybody wants more of that. I would even put, if the Mina brand, because it's great as just like a little sauce, you could even put that out if anybody wanted to put a little bit more on their shrimp. This paste, not so much. The paste I use more in cooking than I would serving it right at the table, but I guess you could if you really, really wanted to. All right, so the shrimp is really coming together. Just needs a few more minutes. So you just kind of have to turn it around. You have to flip them over and just cook them through. You're not going to, I don't know, I haven't had any issues with overcooking the shrimp when I do it this way. You just are turning, they really do almost cook pretty uniformly, even though there's quite a few in here. So this was 2 pounds of shrimp. You could do this with about 1.5 pounds, or even 1 pound if you wanted to. The other thing that's nice, so if you do the lemon wedges around here, that looks good. You could sprinkle some parsley on top if you want it for color, especially if you're serving it at the table. That would look great. So this is pretty well coming together. All right, so let me pull it off. they're going to still need, some of these shrimp's just going to need a few, maybe a minute or two more. But you don't, sometimes I just will pull it off heat even before they're totally cooked through, because there's all that residual heat, and they're going to continue to cook. So I'm going to put the lid back on. And right now I am going to turn it off, and then I'll just check them and make sure they're all cooked through. Easy meals. So we think we need easy meals for the holidays. You know, I know we're cooking for the holidays, but we have to eat in between holidays too. So this is a real nice, easy, quick one. And you can keep the frozen shrimp in your freezer at all times. It's such a lean source of protein. Most of us, unless we're, you know, allergic to it, you know, it's a great option. It defrosts really quickly. You can just run it under some cold water if you forgot to take it out and put it in, you know, and defrost it. Now you can, if you want to. The original recipe used a lot more butter, and I use more olive oil. If you want to, you could add just like a little knob, like maybe a tablespoon of butter here at the end, and that'll just kind of mellow things out, which is what butter tends to do. It'll make it a little bit silkier at this, and I don't always add the butter because I don't always feel I need it, but if you want to, that would help to bring this sauce together a little bit more. So if you wanted to add just a little knob, I would say about a tablespoon is all you would need. To finish that's great. So we're just finishing it with some fresh lemon juice, and if you want to, you could use a little bit of butter. Maybe it's going to need a little bit more salt and pepper, but that's pretty much it. So anyway, so great meal, great little dish to do any time of the week. It's great with just as a very easy family dinner, or you could just certainly have it if you want to have some friends over. I think it's great. Next week is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I obviously won't be on next week, so we will skip next week, but I'll be back again in early December with a couple more easy, simple recipes for you to do. Oh, and I have one that's amazing. So on whatever that date, I think it's the 5th of that's a Thursday in December. I'm gonna introduce you to something pretty amazing that I just recently discovered, and I love it, and I've been using it a lot, and I think you're gonna love it too. So until then, stay well and have a wonderful holiday. Bye-bye.